Where are we going, Gaz?
Why, to our new home, Godzilla.
Why do we have to leave?
Because you're very large, and other things like you are very large, and even the small things need more room.
I suppose that makes sense. I'm the best thing to come out of that legendary movie.
You certainly are. You certainly are. Day 3, and here we are in the house once again. It's morning now, so no new work has been done. I'm waiting for the painters to arrive and the exterminator, who I thought was going to come in the afternoon, but luckily he rescheduled for first thing in the morning, which means I only have to come here twice instead of 3 times. I have to go back, bring Q to work, go back to the house, where I live now, try to get some work done, maybe do a little bit of drawing today, which would be a novelty, and then come back up here around 4 o'clock. The other thing is, I've been noticing more and more all the fixtures and trimmings, if you will, all have this sort of beigeish yellow, which resulted in us having asked them to do some more painting than we thought. But even, it's hard to see, but there's like fixtures for the blinds, and even those have like a slight tan or yellow tinge to them. So it's really difficult to change the whole color scheme of a house. Luckily, we planned on redoing the blinds anyway, because they were all kind of ratty and beat up. So that's not an issue, but there's some other things like sink tops and stuff like that, which we're not going to change anytime soon, but will unfortunately be noticeably different from the rest of the color scheme. So yes. About 11 days out from the move, I'm trying to catch up on some client work. Wow, you can't even tell what that is. It's a commission. There you go, look at that. It's my Misfits Donatello that I'm working on, and I still have to do a Mikey as well. I gotta do both of those. I want to get them done before the move, because I know once I move, it's going to be a time when I physically won't be able to work on them, because I won't have the space. But meanwhile, I'm still trying to pack up everything I own. As you can see, there's a lot of things still not packed. If I go in this room, well, it's a little dark, you can see the case is empty, things are coming off the wall, but there's a lot of work left to do. So I want to try to get these commissions done soon. I'm going to work on it right now. Hopefully I can finish at least one of them and then move on from there. So I've been working on the Donatello Misfit commission, and I've been having a little trouble with the drum set, and there's just a lot of lines and chaos, and it was getting a little crowded. And I wasn't done inking it, but I went ahead with some heavy blacks.
And while it's still work in progress, I felt much better about it by putting a little bit of blacks here. You know, his pants were black, but I made them even blacker, and I just added, you know, not spot blacks, because I'll be filling in the whole thing, but I know I'm going to add gray later, I'm going to add more lines, but just by adding those blacks, I think it helps separate things a lot, and there'll be more in as I go. But I have to constantly remind myself the importance and the beauty of adding blacks, because for most of my artistic career, endeavor, whatever you want to call it,
I've been good at doing lots of lines and rendering and cross-hatching and all that kind of stuff with dramatic lighting. But that's good for getting gray, that's good for getting texture, but the black really helps with grounding things, separating things, and when I started working in color, I pulled back on some of my rendering lines, and even when I'm doing grayscale, I pull back on some of my rendering lines because I know I'm going to be putting gray or color. But whether I'm doing that, when I'm doing straight black and white, I need solid blacks more than ever. But even when I'm doing gray and color, it helps. It definitely helps. I'm not saying anything new. Most of you know this. Those that don't, hey, there you go. But it's something that I have to keep reminding myself. It's an easy enough fix. You know, it's not like, oh, I need to work on drawing feet, and like I do, but that takes forever. But just reminding myself to add blacks is a quick fix to almost always improve the quality of my work. All right, it's after 5. I actually had a productive day as far as art goes today. I got the inks done for both Donatello and Michelangelo.
See, I did the digital versions first. There's Donnie, there's Mikey. These are printouts of the roughs. Put them on my light box, trace them up, and then there's the finished Mikey as Michael Graves from the Misfits, and there's the finished Donnie as Dr. Chud from the Misfits. Now I got to get these scanned and then put some gray and a little bit of color in them to make the prints, and then I will send these originals along with a print of each to the person who commissioned me. Yes!
It's Sunday, we're gonna go see a movie and get some food, but we're taking a trip up to the house, which we still don't live in. We spent most of the day packing up boxes, and as you can see, we're taking some small, well, maybe you can't see the box back there, but we're taking some up with us. But more importantly, I got Serpentera in my hands here, keeping him nice and safe, or her. It's who knows what gender this robot dragon is. And behind me, these cuppers here are of my AT-AT. So certain things you don't box up, you handle them with care, you bring them in with the light white glove baby touch, things like Serpentera. Oh, and my wife. I guess my wife too.
Oh, it's getting real now. Serpentera in the house. In the house.
right, heading out now, but I put a couple farts in here to ward off predators for the time being, to ward them off. Moving continues. We are, I don't know, a week and a half, less than 2 weeks away from moving. And things continue to be emptied. You can see empty cases. Boxes continue to be piled. I'm sorry about the spinning. You can see the pile of boxes. And we keep bringing trips of things up there. But today I'm also trying to catch up on commission work. I just finished up, well, I had previously done the inks for the Donatello and the Michelangelo commissions I had, but part of it is I'm going to make prints out of them, and I had told the client that they can have a copy of those prints. So I need to get the prints done, which is basically putting grayscale on and color of the Ninja Turtle individually. As you can see here from Michelangelo, who has orange, so he has the orange headband and then other highlights. Donatello, I just loaded up. He's inked, scanned, but I have to put the gray and basically make it look like this to match the rest of the set. The two reasons being, one, that I need to send a copy of the print along with the original to the commissioner, the client, however you want to describe it, and also so that I will have it prints for the next show I do. I'm doing Japan World Heroes, which I would like to have it for, but I definitely want to have it for my fantastic San Francisco Comic-Con. Hey, so it's Wednesday, new comic book day, although I probably won't be going to the comic store today because I have to go tomorrow. It doesn't matter. I am trying to get some work done today. I got all caught up on my commissions, save for one, but that person, I've informed them it will be a while. I'm going to do it after I move in. They're fine with that. So on my plate right now, I have no client work, no commissions. The only thing I have to worry about is moving, house stuff, life stuff. The horror, which I'm also not working on right now, deliberately, and more on that later. Not that I'm quitting or anything like that, but just reasons for why I'm, Anyway, but I have two shows coming up very soon. I have Japan World Heroes and San Francisco Comic-Con, and I've talked about how I want to try to get some new prints done. Now, I have the Spider-Man, Japanese Spider-Man faux cover. I have the two Ninja Turtle prints. I'm going to do those. Technically, I have Destroya, which I've only had at one show before, but I'd like to have another tokusatsu kind of Japanese hero print since that's the show I'm doing. I don't need it, but I want it. And so I have several weeks, so I definitely have enough time to do it, even just squeezing in time here and there. But I need to, I'm using cat print now primarily, so I need to have enough time to finish it, send it out in, get it mailed back, and have it in time for the show. So really, I don't have that much time. And what I'm going to do is the next 2 days or so, basically by Monday, if I don't have it ready by Monday, it's probably too late. So I'm going to try to get one, maybe two new prints done, maybe a headshot and a full shot. And I'm working on an Ultraman print, a new one, and I've been working on it, I'm not sure how long, an hour, 2 hours. As I've talked before, I'm very slow sometimes, and I don't always keep the best track of time. And I'm trying to do an Ultraman. I have one now, but it's sort of a side shot, and I have a headshot. I'm trying to, once again, tackle the upshot, which is something that I continually find challenging, which is especially vexing, because I tend to do a lot of monsters and robots, and the horror is a big monster, and I've done a decent job of fancy footworking my way around to showing scale in other ways, but that extreme perspective up, I have trouble with it. And I've tried, figure drawing, I've worked on it, I've looked at perspective books, like I've practiced it, I know how to do it, but when it comes to actually doing it, I have trouble. And I've talked about this before, just like what's in your head onto paper, and I try to use technology and I try to use technique to construct it properly, but it doesn't always work. And I'll show you what I've been struggling with the last hour or two. So I first started drawing him, and I wanted an extreme perspective where he's all the way up here, so I have this big leg, and it just looked weird. So I said, nope, that's not working. So take two, more of a crouching pose, which is sort of a pose he fights in, so it's an accurate pose, but it just looks like he's taking a big dump, and it's a little bit better in the perspective, but just terrible pose from that angle anyway. So here's number three. This is more of his I just transformed pose. Now, after I drew this, I actually extended the legs and shrunk the top digitally to make the perspective look more, but it gives the impression that his legs are stretching as opposed to him being really tall, so that's also no good. This was a kind of draw over that one, which is basically the same thing and no good. This was more of a close-up. This one I was liking better, and I felt like this is more, reminded me, I didn't look at this, but it reminded me of a shot in the comic book The Marvels by, not The Marvels, just Marvels, by the painter Alex Ross that came out a long time ago, I think in the late 90s, and it was Giant Man or somebody walking over a reporter. Now, I didn't reference that, but I think in my head is kind of what I was thinking, because I realized that if you were on the ground and a giant monster or person was walking by, you wouldn't actually see their feet all the way up to their head. most of the time. This is more like the angle you'd see, and this would be, you know, like the horizon line or buildings or whatever. So I kind of liked that, but then I was sort of, I put this layer over it to sort of track, you know, the forms and the shape and kind of make the pose a little bit more accurate. So then I had this, and then on top of that, I redrew, and I've actually, since I redrew, I've, you know, manipulated a little bit more. And at some point, I put my Ultraman figure up here. I had a sort of Barbie doll style one, which would be better because it has the sort of rubbery cloth outfit, which he should have, and he's bigger and a little bit more accurate to what I'm looking for. This is more action figure-y, but I tried to sort of look at this. I didn't take a picture or anything, but just to try to, as I'm working on it, look over there. And it's helpful, but not perfectly helpful, because I don't want to draw the action figure. You know what I mean? That's the trouble with reference. I don't want to make it look like that. So this is where I'm at, and this is as good as it's gotten today up to this point. I'm not thrilled with it. The fists could use a little work, especially that one. It's not there, but better than where I started. But again, 2 hours, and I'm not even at, like, pencils. So, yeah. What is going on with the quality of plastic these days? I am packing. I stopped working on the Ultraman. I'm emptying out this case here. I got a lot of Power Ranger Super Sentai figures. These are the collectible, you know, adult versions. And I was packing up my Deca Ranger / SPD Red, and his leg fell off. I didn't even pose it. I just sort of picked him up. Leg fell off. The joint has crumbled. It's not a stress crack as far as I could tell. Like, I put him in that pose when I bought him, put him on the shelf, haven't touched him since. And I had a similar thing. I have a Megatron that came with a little gun that the handle just disintegrated. And I had a C-3PO figure, a modern C-3PO figure, well, you know, maybe 10, 15 years old, but, you know, modern. And it's, ironically, he's the one that the arm pulls off to replicate the scene from the first movie where he loses his arm. But the other arm broke off. And again, I just picked him up, oh, the arm fell off. And just the joint had disintegrated. And this is on top of a very expensive Rodimus Prime figure I got from Japan, similarly. Never even transformed him, because I had heard they're notoriously, you know, shallow? No. Fragile. Shallow. They don't care about your feelings, they just want money. But anyway, his arm fell off in the case, having not touched it. But now that I'm packing up, I've had 3 different toys break just from age. And again, these aren't really old toys, like maybe 10 years, 5 years. So, what a bummer. And this is again a thing where, like, the real bummer is, and I've had this before, I've lost auctions on eBay or things have been broken or stolen or whatever, where this is, you know, a $30-ish figure, $35-ish figure. But I got it, I think I got it for $15 because it was like a cheap one, a cheap thing online, and the box was messed up, and so I got it for $15. So when it's broken, now I could glue it or try to fix it, but I'd like to replace it because it's broken in a way that would be difficult to fix. I mean, he would just stand forever, not be able to pose. But I didn't lose $15. I lost $30, $35, because good luck me getting another one of these for $15. So that's my rant. You believe this? This is not the same figure. This is Shinken Red. This is Samurai Red. Now, luckily, this figure is one of the cheaper ones to get, but still, the same thing. All I did, his leg was like this, and I'm like, let me just turn it to snap. Second version, Fort Max Titans Return, another VIP guest getting the hand delivery treatment to the new house. And if you were thinking, that doesn't seem totally necessary, just remember the toys that broke, even though I was being careful to put them in their package. So it's very likely he could get broken, and I can't have that. Not you, Maxie. Not you, baby.
How did you not see that coming? How did you not see that coming?
Hey, what's up? I'm on the floor. We have 5, including today, we have 5 full days of packing, and then the movers come, and then the next day we have to be out of here. So I'm kind of kicking it into high gear, and I'm just packing all day today, which is something I don't think I've done a whole day of packing yet. Usually a half day, an hour or 2 here and there, whatever. And I've been coming across many things that I don't need to get rid of, whether it's like, oh, you know what, I could sell this toy, I don't need this one anymore, or a pile of papers that's probably mostly garbage that I just need to go through, or old books I don't want, whatever. There's a lot of things I've come across that I can get rid of, but I don't have the time to do it. I don't have the time to sell it, to bring it to Goodwill, to sort it, whatever. So everything's coming with us, but as I unpack, hopefully then I will go through the purging phase, as it were. But I'm sitting down on the floor right now, if you couldn't tell.
And I'm looking under here, and this is a good example. This is a lot of CDs and DVDs of backup computer stuff from when that was a thing, but I still have data on there that I've never done anything with. And then down here, you can see I have a video camera that I sometimes use now, and a video camera that I haven't used since I've lived in California, which so like 8 years. Similarly, most of these books and magazines I have not looked at since I've lived here. Doesn't mean I want to get rid of them, but it's like worth a revisit. I mean, there's my high school yearbook, so obviously I'm going to keep that. But then let's see, just randomly, what do we got here? Some G.I. Joe coloring books, some Transformers coloring books. So these are actually pretty awesome, and I don't particularly want to get rid of them, but I haven't looked at them forever, so probably wasn't the best place for them. Let's see what else we got here. This is pretty great. This is an Evil Dead coloring book, Evil Dead 2 coloring book that my buddy Dan Gallagher made. Now, it's important to note, he made this a couple years ago. Let me just use my toes to hold the paper. Whoop. And he did this before the idea of adult coloring books was a thing at all. And he just did an awesome job. Not like the concept was great, but also the way he did it. You could see he like simplified everything to make it really look like an old-fashioned comic book, and he put like a maze in. And it's one of my favorite things. And I always feel the need to explain how great it was. I mean, it's still great, but the fact that it came out before this was even a thing is just that much more innovative of him.
So it seems like most of the stuff under there I'm going to want to keep, but maybe reorganize, put somewhere where I can enjoy them more. There's actually more to go through, and I was going to show you guys, but I just don't have the time. I'm sorry. Heading out with another carload, and who is today's special guest star that gets the white glove treatment? Ooh. Why, it's Voltron! It's a Generation 1 Voltron from the 80s, but the toy is not from the 80s. It's from maybe 5 years ago when Matty Collector released it. It's not perfect, but it's big and it looks like a cartoon, so it gets to be carried special.
All right, y'all tucked in there, buddy? Okay. Safe travels.
It was yesterday that I was working on the Ultraman potential print for the show, and I think I might have to let that dream die, because there's still a lot of packing to do, and I don't see me having time to do it. And meanwhile, I gotta order those other prints. Yeah, you're watching my thought process. I think I'm just gonna officially call it rather than drive myself insane and just order the prints I need. And yeah.
So I've been talking a lot about upshots and things like that. This is a poster I got for free at some point. I had on my wall. Just took it down. It kind of got messed up. I'm probably going to chuck it. But when I look at the upshots here, these are sort of side up. She looks okay. He is like a muscular young guy, and he looks kind of chubby here, and his face is almost fat. So what I'm going to do is go in with this Sharpie. I want to just sort of do this. And that makes him look more correct and on model, but it still looks like he's looking up. So this is the thing. Did they just make a mistake there? I thought there was some upshot trick that I wasn't getting, but I mean, he still looks a little pudgy, but you get what I'm saying, right? That the more I do that, you still see the underside of the chin. I don't know. There's a G for GAZBOT.
It's Thursday. They were supposed to install some things, some appliances. They didn't. But we're here at the house again late at night. Oh, Castle Grayskull. That's one of the 2 things that got the hand treatment today. We're bringing in another load. I'd say there's about 1 more day of packing at the house tomorrow for me to get all of my personal stuff done. And then over the weekend, I'm going to help Q finish up her stuff and then do all the household stuff. And then Monday, the movers come. Tomorrow, however, is carpeting. So I have to be here at 6 in the morning. I was up 6 in the morning today, too. Packed all day, rode my bike to class, well, study group, had study group, rode my bike home, loaded up the car, drove up here. Only reason I'm as energetic as I seem, I seem as I am, and I am as I seem, reality, perception, whatever. I just had a bunch of coffee.
Hey, look, it's R2-D2. He's the other one that came today. Beep, 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 beep.
I realized I was dancing, but it didn't make sense that way. So what you missed was beep, 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 beep. It still doesn't make sense. All right, whatever.
Daylight?
Yes, that's daylight. It's about 7:30 in the morning. I got up 6:30, so once again got about 4 hours sleep last night, and I'm here at the house. Carpet people are coming here today, so I had to be here to let them in. I'm not sure how long I have to hang out here because the window is between 8 and 9:30, and it's not even 8 yet. So I'm hoping they come closer to 8 so I can leave and go home and pack and get other things done. Right now I'm just putting a poster down. And as you can see, this room, well, maybe you can't see, this room is getting pretty full of things that we've brought up in single trips, mostly light things, delicate things, small things, and that's not including what I have in the garage. So quite a bit's been brought over, and a few reasons for that. One, like I said, certain delicate things we just feel safer bringing over ourselves rather than leaving movers in a truck. But also, we pay hourly for the movers. Now, there's a minimum of a couple hours, but mainly we want them for our furniture and a couple heavy boxes. So hours have been spent bringing this stuff over. Now, arguably, movers could do it quicker, but even 1 hour that we shave off that time saves us money. So Plus the fact that I have to come up here anyway. It's not like I'm making trips just to do that. Well,